Hey guys, what's up? My name is Renee. If you're new, thank you so much for stopping by this channel. I am 18 weeks pregnant. I will be 19 weeks pregnant in 2 days. And I thought I would do a video, like a little sit down with you guys to just explain some of the signs that I saw before I found out I was pregnant and just little like weird coincidences. I have them all written down and I thought they would be fun to kind of just go through as like, I don't know, if you're having the same symptoms or signs or you think you're pregnant. I thought it would be a fun video. It's an interesting video. First things first is I thought I was gonna get my period. Feeling like very crampy. Like I felt like I was about to get like a major period. Like, you know those symptoms that you're just like, oh god, this is not gonna be a fun one. That's what I felt. A weird random symptom that I had was my rings. So I have the kind of like sensitive skin that if I wear fake jewelry, my fingers will turn green, but my fingers underneath my real rings were starting to turn black. Oh, are my rings getting old? Like, what's happening? That was a really weird symptom. And I think it has something to do with your iron. I was sleeping nonstop. So before I was pregnant, was drinking decaf for pretty much the whole year. Occasionally I would have a caffeinated drink, like a matcha or something. I was drinking like 3 iced coffees a day. I was sleeping a lot. I was starting to fall asleep around like 7 and taking naps throughout the day, and I just could not catch not only energy but motivation. Like I was just so tired. Like, you know when you go to like a park at the end of the day, like a giant amusement park, Disney or something, and at the end of the day you're just like exhausted? That's what it felt like. My boobs were hurting, specifically my nipples were like really hurting. It was just so sore, like to the point where I couldn't even have like a loose piece of clothing just touching them. Like I was in so much pain. Before I was pregnant, would go to the gym 5 times a week. I was on my grind, and I noticed when I started going to the gym that I was so out of breath. I didn't really want to go to the gym, which was so unlike me. And every time I did go to the gym, my like stamina, my performance were just like not it. I had the most odd cravings. I remember talking to my friend, like just sitting there chowing down on plain Greek yogurt, like just eating it like it was ice cream. I was going through like a pint a day. Like, why am I craving this? Now that I go back and I think about it, I probably was craving either the protein or the calcium, which meant I was probably most likely deficient in it, and my body was just wanting that. I had this moment where I woke up in the middle of the night. It felt feverish, but I felt like I was gonna faint. Like I was really cold and shivery. So I got up to turn the AC down, and I was like blacking out as I was coming back to my bed. And I remember like jumping on my bed thinking, oh my god, like, do I have COVID? Do I have the flu? What's going on? And then I woke up fine. My sense of smell was weird. So I would walk downstairs to go just like walk around, and we have a lot of dogs in the area, and I just kept remembering thinking I stepped in something. I was like, I would look all the time on my feet and I'm like, what did I step on? Why do I smell that? And then cologne, like when a man would come in with like cheap cologne. Or I had a moment where I was on the gym, I was on a treadmill, and this guy walked by and he had, I swear it was like Axe or some sort of one, like a really strong scented one. And I was on the treadmill and he came over and I was like, oh my god, I'm about to throw up. And I had to literally get off the treadmill. And I got mad at him for the fact that he sat next to me. Like I was kind of moody. I honestly haven't been too moody, but that was the one time I'm like, why does he have to wear this cologne? We're at the gym, we're sweating. Yeah, my sense of smell was just way different. And then this is another really weird one, but like honestly, now that I think about it, from the time I conceived for about 6 weeks from that, I had my eye like twitching all the time, and I'm like, I must be so tired because my eye is twitching. I don't know if that's a sign or not. I think I had Googled it at the time, and I'm pretty sure that was some sort of like something to do with pregnancy, but I was like, oh, that's why my eye is twitching. Like it was just all day twitching. So those are just some like weird things. And then in terms of like random coincidences or signs from the universe that I felt like I was picking up on, and at the time I just didn't know what it all meant if you're into this kind of stuff. Again, from the time I kind of conceived, I just remember seeing blue jays everywhere. They were everywhere. I was seeing like 2 or 3 a day, and I'm like, I'm on the right path, something good is happening. And I really do kind of hone in on certain signs like that if I like see repetition in what I'm seeing throughout the day. And I just remember seeing lots of blue jays. And then when I found out I was pregnant, it just stopped. My boyfriend had an intuition. So he and I were taking precautions. He had randomly texted me one day, hey, I think you should take a pregnancy test. I was like, that's weird, why? But I did, and it was negative actually. And I was like, what made you wanna ask that? He was like, I was in the Uber last night, and he was telling me that his wife was pregnant with twins. Some signs that she was having was she was taking naps. And he's like, I noticed that you took 2 naps the other day, and like, Renee, you don't take naps. And I was like, it was a power nap. Little did I know, I was pregnant. I was making random jokes when I was pregnant. Now that I go back and think about it, I remember like 2 days before I found out, I was making a joke about nesting because I was going crazy in the house. And at the time my friend Chase was living with me, and I was like, oh my God, I feel like I'm nesting. Like, I was going crazy, and I just made that random comment. I had made some sort of pregnancy joke the night before. I don't know why I said it, but I just like made a it was the night before I found out. Xander was showing me, he knew I wanted to buy a house in the future, and he was showing me his building that he lived in and sent me an email. And it was a 2-bedroom apartment in the condo that we're actually living in right now. And I remember thinking like, what is he trying to ask me to move in? Like, what's going on? I remember asking him, and he's like, oh, I thought that was like a house to buy. I thought they were selling the condo, so I sent it to you because I thought that you would want to buy a condo. You've been talking about buying a condo. And I was like, oh no, it says to buy something else. Like, the wording sounded like it was to buy, but it wasn't. And he sent me like a 2-bedroom, the 2-bedroom that we're in now. He made a joke when we were with Bonnie, Chase's little girl. We were like walking down, he's like, oh, haha, look, we're like mom and dad. And little did we know, on Mother's Day, which I was actually pregnant, I just didn't know, we were going through old pictures, and I saw a picture of my dad holding me. And then my mom had said, oh my God, can you imagine, because Xander is so big, he's like 6'6". He's like, can you imagine if Xander ever had a kid? His hands are huge. He would just hold his little angel in his hand. And at the time I was like literally pregnant. I had no idea, but I was like, little did we know, in 9 months he will be holding a baby like that. Again, I think 2 or 3 days before I found out, Chase was, I think it's because it was around Mother's Day, Chase was showing me his kids being born and how his wife's experience, and was showing me pictures, and I was like freaking out. And we were all walking, me, my mom, and Chase, and he was showing me that day and what it meant to him. And I remember thinking, I could never do that, like that's so scary, seeing all the blood and like everything. And again, I was pregnant and I didn't know. There have been a lot of random symbolism throughout my pregnancy, with the moon in particular. I think, so the day that Xander and I met, we had taken a picture, and there was this beautiful moon on the bridge. It was actually my dad's birthday. And then the day that we found out, I saw a beautiful rainbow. I was in shock because it was a surprise. And I remember thinking like, can I do this? Is this the right thing? I remember thinking about my dad a lot, the baby's life, and is it gonna be good? And I just like was going through all the things, you know, and I saw this rainbow when I was working, and I just felt the energy of like God and my dad and the universe kind of just showing me and explaining to me that it's gonna be okay. Like, I think the rainbow in the Bible means I'm with you, have faith, and it's such a like peace of mind to see a rainbow for me. Like, I just felt this overwhelming sense of energy. And then there was another like special day. It was I think it was like my first ultrasound or something. It was like some sort of monumental day. Xander was walking over the bridge that we had met on, and he saw like an actual rainbow from the beginning to the end. Like the pictures don't even do it justice. It was the most insane rainbow ever, and that was on such a like monumental day. And then also the day that we found out was the red moon, which resembles a lot. We remember like reading through what the symbolism of the red moon is, and it was so on par, and it was just so nuts. Yeah, those are some of the signs and like little coincidences that I had. Not to say that everyone has these, or if you have these you're pregnant or anything like that, but that's just looking back now. If I see like my fingers turning like black from my rings, I'm like, I'm pregnant. If I feel faint randomly, like I probably would know. I feel like those are just, I don't know. If you have been pregnant before, or you think you're pregnant, like what are the signs you're having? What like random, really weird, unique symptoms did you have before you found out? I'm so curious. Pretty sure I had some that I to this day probably don't remember, or I don't correlate to the pregnancy. That definitely probably was the pregnancy. Once I found out, I started logging all my symptoms, but it was really hard to kind of remember and think back, oh my God, that was probably the pregnancy. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thought it would be fun. If you did, give it a thumbs up. I love you guys so much, and I will see you very soon. Bye.